BlackOut here. Today I want to talk to you about the difference between 300 BlackOut and 223-556 Remington. So for this video, we're not going to get involved in the differences between 556 and 223. We're just going to assume they're the same thing. Most rifles now that you can buy are barreled. If you're going to shoot 556 or 223, they are barreled in like a wild chamber, or most of the barrels are offered are 556. But for this video, we're just going to assume they're the same thing, and we're going to compare it directly to 300 BlackOut. First, this cartridge was designed back in the early 60s, basically for the AR-15 platform for the Vietnam War for the M16, and it's become widely available in other rifles, the other main one being the Mini 14 made by Ruger, and that's been around for years. But there are also a lot of other rifles being calibered into 556, plenty of bolt action rifles now. So basically, you have and AK-47s are now being chambered in 556. So, but those are your major rifles that'll shoot that stuff. For 300 BlackOut, this cartridge is basically in the AR-15. Also, there are bolt-action rifles now that are being chambered in 300 BlackOut. First, let's talk about the similarities of these cartridges right here. If you can see these up close, they basically are the same piece of brass. They both use small rifle primers, and the only difference between these cases are that the 300 BlackOut is trimmed down, and you can form it from a 556, and it's necked up to accept a 30 caliber bullet instead of a 22 caliber bullet. So basically, you can buy a jig, use a cutoff saw, cut off 556 brass, and then just run it in a die, and you have 300 BlackOut brass. So for all intents and purposes, the only difference between these two rounds is the 556 223 brass has been cut down, and you have a different bullet in there, and you're going to run a different powder, but it's still this, but it's basically the same thing. So you're going to have a bigger, heavier bullet. The bullets we're looking at here today are 120 grain Remington, and this stuff was at Walmart for $16.44 a box, and this was just purchased there a couple of weeks ago. The other neat thing about 300 BlackOut I want to talk about first is you can get these loaded with 220 grain bullets in them, and that's subsonic. I've never fired one myself, but I have seen them fired at gun ranges with suppressors, and yes, it's very cool. The rifles are so fired, you can hear the action slamming back and forth more than the pop of the rifle itself. Also, when it hits the target, you can hear the steel plates slap a lot more than you can hear the bang or even the action of the rifle cycling back and forth. So that's really cool. And there's very few rifle cartridges you can do that with, run subsonic. Most of them you're running subsonic or pistol cartridges, in rifle carbines. And as far as the supersonic loads go, they're basically running 110, 120, and 125 grain bullets, and they're all cooking between, 20, probably 100 on the low end to 2,300 on the high end feet per second, with muzzle energies of around, I want to say that 1,350 pound mark. When you load them with subsonic with the 220 grain bullets, you're down at about 1,000 feet per second, and usually just shy of about 500 foot-pounds of energy at the muzzle, right around 500 pounds of energy. So you're basically shooting a 45 ACP out of, probably have a little better BC on that bullet than a 45, but it's, you're gonna be similar to a 45 caliber carbine shooting it, or maybe even a light 10 millimeter, shooting a 220 grain bullet, somewhere in that vicinity of what you're getting. So it is very cool and is extremely versatile. And if you do chamber an AR or any rifle in a 300 BlackOut, you have something that's very versatile, something that you can shoot a supersonic bullet with and get some decent range. It's I was just looking at some specs, and at 480 yards, there's 2.5 meters of drop. Not saying it can't be done, but that's kind of ridiculous. I mean, I look at the max range of a 300 BlackOut, just a touch less than an AK, than a 7.62 by 39. That's also something I want to mention too, is the 7.62 by 39 has a little more punch than the 300 BlackOut. Most 7.62 by AK by 39 ammo is going to run about 1,500 pounds of muzzle energy and be north of 2,400 feet per second. whether the 300 Blackout's going to be a little less because there's a little less case capacity, so you can't get quite as much powder behind the bullet. So most people consider the AK good about 400 yards. I'm going to call the 300 Blackout 300, 350. Yes, you can shoot it farther if you learn your bullet drops, but I find it very difficult to shoot a cartridge, big, heavy, slow-moving cartridge at distance, you know, once, because you have so much bullet drop and your arc is so pronounced. You know, even a 308, I'm pretty good with my 308 out to about 700 yards, but after that it gets difficult, and I really need to have the temperature right. I need to have my loads dialed in right. Shooting my 5.56 223 at 500 yards, it's not that difficult, but the problem is with those bullets, you don't have the energy on target, and when you hit the steel plate at 500 yards, I can't even hear it ring. So you have limited range with this too, because you're just shooting, you know, 55, 62 grain pills out of these, you know, and if you want to buy the good stuff, you're going to spend more money. You know, instead of you know, $7 or $8 for a box of 20, you're gonna end up spending $20, $22, $23, you know, $25 for a box of 20 rounds, you know, for really good match grade stuff, you know, to get to 69 grain and the 77 grain pills, you know, that will shoot out to those distances and carry more energy out there. But you're asking a lot from these little cartridges. I would say past 300 yards, 350 yards. They're just not designed to do that. And yes, some people are going to argue with me and say they can shoot them 1,000. That's great. Just say like realistic use. Better step it up to a 6.5 Creedmoor or a 308 Winchester, something in that nature. Will give you much better results and much easier to do. So last winter, I wanted to build an AR-15. I've never built an AR-15 before. After I built my Remington 700, I wanted to build an AR. And so I ended up building this rifle right here. And this is mostly Spikes Tactical with a Wilson Combat medium profile barrel right there, 16-inch. It has a rifle length gas system and the, actually it might be mid-length, I can't remember what the gas system is on this. With a diamond head handguard on here, and it is chambered in 300 Blackout. And the cool thing about 300 Blackout is the only difference between this AR and an AR that shoots 5.56 223 is the barrel. Everything else is the same, since the back of these rounds are the same. If you were to look at the back of these magazines, they're the same. The only difference is you can see what they're, let's get the sun to shine in there a little bit better. You can see the difference of how those magazines are loaded up right there. One has got the 223 in it, the other one's got the 300 Blackout in there. So that's one thing that's cool. So the only true difference on these rifles is the barrel. So if you can switch the barrel out, you know, you got to pull off your barrel nut and all that. And then you have, or else get two different uppers, whatever you want to do, but you have two different calibers there, which is pretty cool. So now let's get to my knock on 300 Blackout. So basically last year I was sucked into all this hype, and I'm not going to name other people I've watched on YouTube, but I was sucked into all this hype on, you know, and reading forums and blah 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 on the 300 Blackout, and I watched the people shoot them, like, wow, is that stuff cool? I got to get some of that. And so basically now I've got $300 wrapped, I got $1,200 wrapped up into this rifle. I bought a EOTech 512 for it, which was another $400, and I sold that because I wanted to get the 300 Blackout version of the EOTech because I like that red dot so much. So, but now I'm kind of on hold because I'm annoyed, and this is the reason I can't stand 300 Blackout now. It's too expensive. It's a ripoff for what it is. Basically, it just underperforms an AK round. Granted, AK stuff is steel. It's a tough comparison because steel's not, obviously you can't reload it. And also, I would never run steel cased anything in a you know, $1,200 AR-15 rifle. But as far as 5.56, let's compare it to that. I bought this box for demonstration purpose in Walmart yesterday. This box of ammo was $7.44. With tax in Vermont here, it was $7.89. This box right here was bought a couple weeks ago in Walmart. It was $16.44 for just regular Remington 120 grain stuff. It's more than double what 5.56 223 costs. More than double. The only difference is basically the bullet's bigger. That doesn't seem right to me. Other rounds I wanted to talk about in comparison is you can get brass cased 308 in Walmart for $15 for that ZQI stuff. That stuff shoots pretty well out of my Remington 700. 15 bucks, it's still cheaper than 300 Blackout by $1 or $2 a round. This stuff can also be had for $15 or $16 a box right here. 7.62 by 54. This is equivalent to a 308 30-06 round. I can go on and on. And that's my big gripe against 300 Blackout is what are you getting for your money? You're not getting much. You're basically shooting a 30 caliber bullet. Both these bullets are the same diameter right there. Just about the same bullet, as you can see. You can still buy this one for less than this. Doesn't make sense to me. So that's really annoyed me. So basically I had $1,600 locked up in this rifle right here. Right now I only have 6 boxes of this ammo right here, 120 rounds. For an AR-15, that's nothing, because an AR-15 is a bullet hose. You know, anybody that has one of these things know, unless you have 1,000 rounds, you don't have any ammo for these things. You know, you can go out shooting 100 rounds, and an AR-15 goes in 15 minutes, you know, and that's if you're shooting slowly. You know, if I have 40 rounds for my 308, I can go out shooting all day and have fun with that, you know, or at least half the day and have fun with that. Even a box of 20, I'll go out shooting with a box of 20 with any bolt action rifle, you know, and I can go out for hours and have fun with that. Much different with this 300 Blackout. So basically, that's my big complaint about it, and I think it totally sucks, and I got lured into all this hype, the 300 Blackout, the 300 Blackout, and unless you have a lot of money to blow, and literally, you know, you put together your rifle, and after that, you get, I'm like, I got $1,000 dedicated to buy 300 Blackout ammo, don't get it, don't even touch it, it's not worth it. I'm firsthand. You know, I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, do I want to put $1,000 into 300 Blackout? No, it's not worth it. I'd rather have $1,000 with a 308 and kick 300 Blackout's butt. You know, it's just my 2 cents on the matter. You know, so I'm gonna pull this barrel out of here. This gun show up in Burlington this weekend. I'm gonna pull this 300 Blackout barrel out of this AR, and I'm gonna sell it. I'm gonna put a 5.56 barrel back in there, you know, or a wild barrel back in there of some nature. Another problem with 300 Blackout is it's not available in the stores. You can't find this stuff for sale. It's for sale in Walmart right now. This Remington, you know, 120 grain stuff. But that's it. It's not in Dick's. It's not in any other boutique gun shops here, you know, around the Rutland, Vermont area, which is too bad. And ordering online, you cannot get deals on bulk stuff. I mean, you know, I'm still looking at bulk 300 Blackout 500 rounds online for, you know, 350, 375 bucks plus shipping. That's not cheap. That's expensive. You can get 308 for that much. You know, you can get 30-aught, cheap 30-06 for that much. You know, and shoot a much bigger bullet. You know, why am I paying more and getting less? It's just, to me, it's just a lot of hype. I think it's, you know, unless you have the money to spend, don't even touch the stuff. It ain't worth it. But folks, I'm going to thank you for watching, and that's my gripe for today. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, please post them below. Keep an eye out for other videos. Thanks, folks.